You look beautiful, Mary Esther. All right. Welcome, APL Nation. It is so great to have you here tonight. Again, I apologize. For some reason, my video is not working. My name is Ruth Mayne. I'm a corporate director here with APLGO, and I am so excited about these calls with Mary Esther. If you have not listened to some of the or all of the behind the science calls that she has done over the years, you really need to go listen to them. You will learn so much. And I want you to stay on till the end of this call because we have a very exciting announcement for those of you that have not been around very long. I will just give you a hint. It has to do with a very special book that Mary Esther wrote that was no longer available to people. And now it is, thanks to some hard work by Mary Esther. So stick around till the end, and you are going to get all of the information on how to order that book for yourself. And mark my words, it is something that you are going to want to have. I know there are several people on here tonight, along with myself, that use that book every single day. I'm actually buying a new one because it's got all the new products in it. And when I do trade shows, I like to have that all in one little space. So, Mary Esther, welcome tonight. How are you?
Well, thank you. Well, tonight's going to be kind of special because we're taking a new approach, right? Slightly different approach to everything. So hopefully we'll have a refresher and I know people expect certain things from our calls, but we're going to give it a slightly different twist tonight, aren't we?
Absolutely. And just so you guys know, I want to set the stage. So we have to have a short call tonight because of our drive to director call right after this one. So what Mary Esther and I decided to do was do kind of like a high level overview of two of everybody's favorite products, Air and Beauty. And as you know, Mary Esther put so much work into doing the schematics for us that you can actually download and print that will give you even more information and fill in all the spots that we're not going to go into tonight. Meaning, we're not going to cover the ingredients. Number one, it would be almost impossible because beauty has the most ingredients of every single one of our products. So, we're just going to kind of do a higher level overview. And Mary Esther doesn't know this yet because we talked about it, but then I got busy and didn't get back with her. I have some questions that I know she's going to love to answer because it's right up her alley. But I'm going to let her open the call and just kind of start, Mary Esther, with beauty or with air. Um, Start filling us in on why these two products are so great, especially air coming into fall right now. And beauty, we can all use. I mean, that's been an incredible product as well.
Oh yeah, it's so amazing how every single call we do, we take the ingredients of these products and we approach it from a little bit different perspective. That's how complex the human body is. So today, let me go ahead and share my screen and you'll see what I've got for you. Okay, so I combined both of them together because, as you said, Ruth, it's going to take forever if we concentrate on one ingredient at a time and just to expand on what these individual botanicals can do. But I like the grouping because it gives you more impact as to what these things do. So basically, what I'm summarizing for us tonight is that air and beauty, when you combine these two, when you're highly nourished, beauty's only skin deep, right? You can put all kinds of expensive products on your skin and look all coiffed. But if you concentrate on nourishing your cells, those multiple trillions of cells down to the DNA level, which is what the drops are so good at, then you'll have beauty on the surface because everything will be flexible and well hydrated and well lubricated, using the right types of compounds that help us utilize fats better. So Yeah, beauty is more than skin deep. Beauty is like, how good do your cells look at the micro level? So, cellular nourishment, normal daily detoxification, nothing, what you do once in a while, you've got to do this all the time. So that means nourishing your body and getting the ingredients in your body so that it can normally just get rid of toxins as they come along. So you want to clear your circulation, get all the pathways unobstructed so that your nourishment can deliver oxygen and nutrients and water and all the different types of enzymes and proteins and everything your cells need to stay alive and thriving. So and you'll have more physical energy. That's just how it works. You have a clean system, your car is going to run better, right? So then you'll have, of course, mental clarity and mental energy and all those other things that we've talked about before in other calls. So all this comes down to a sense of well-being, calmer reactions to stress, being somebody that everyone wants to be around, right? This person knows how to solve problems. He or she stays calm in situations and makes better decisions, kind of thing, and develops what people view as a leader, right? Someone who takes charge and is confident within themselves. Let me turn on my little air conditioner because I think my big one turned off. Okay, so all right, so we're just going to go over everything pretty fast because I really want to answer some questions. I hope you have some really great questions for me, and stop me along the way if one of your questions applies to what I'm going to be presenting here. Okay, Ruth, or anyone else for that matter.
I will, absolutely.
Okay, so as usual, I put together my handy dandy little chart, right? Here's all the ingredients on the left side, and I color coded the ingredients so that you know which one belongs to air and which one belongs to beauty. So these are the systems that have are known to be facilitated with all of the nutrient compounds that are in these botanicals. Okay, so we'll go over each one of these individually very quickly. I'll show you a lot of great pictures. So basically, you want to keep in mind that these botanicals provide the nourishment for a good circulation, even down to your microcirculation, which is where the nutrients actually get delivered. We've got these big blood vessels, they get smaller and smaller to the extremes of the body and throughout the extremes of within the organs. So all these blood vessels just get tinier and tinier, and they're extremely important. Just because they're tiny doesn't mean that they're something that we don't need to pay attention to, right? So we wanted to know that we'll have stronger blood vessels, better brain function, organ blood flow, not just in the blood vessels, but within the vessels inside the organs. And so therefore you'll have better skin and nice looking eyes, nice and bright, and libido, energy production. So you'll feel better and have more energy. Okay, so then also these botanicals cover the organs that generate the immune cells. So we've got all these policing systems going on in the body to make sure that all these microorganisms that can become invasive if you're exposed to them, which we all are all the time. They're in the air, they're in food, that kind of thing. So this will ensure that your immune system is on top of things. So these phytonutrient compounds in all of these botanicals are so great for helping the immune system, and they improve how the immune system works. They improve the intelligence of the immune system at the DNA level. So then we're also going to be going over the kidneys. That's another detoxification organ, flushing out toxins, detoxifying on a regular basis, regulating your body's water so that your blood pressure and your water pressure throughout the body is normalizing all the time. And of course, making sure that the skin, which is also a detoxification organ, the largest organ in the body, so right down to the capillaries and the hair follicles, and the surface pores, all of that will be benefited because right underneath the surface is where all the nutrients are stored, right? And all the blood vessels and all these other things that are stored in right just beneath the skin. So we'll go over that. And then digestion, of course, we talked about the gut-brain axis before, right? And so a lot of these botanicals will be sure to cover all of those things that could go wrong potentially, right? But is always on top of things and always normalizing the body, improving digestion, cleaning out the colon, just a normal cleansing detoxification environment there. And also the liver. The liver is also the organ that stores toxins. So you want to constantly, ensure that your system is receiving the nutrients that will clear the liver every day too. respiratory airways, making sure everything from the nose to the throat, the trachea, the lungs, and right down to those little microscopic alveoli where the real oxygen exchange takes place. So we want to make sure those airways are completely cleared up. And I'll go over a little bit about that. Cellular protection, repair, and regeneration. Our body's constantly trying to repair things and just regenerate cells that are already existing that will soon be spent and get old and need to be replaced. So we want that replication process to be
Mary
as
Esther, I
close.
have a question right here.
Okay, go for it.
And I know you're going to love this question. So I got asked this question and I had to do some research using my book. And as we all know, ashwagandha is in these products. And ashwagandha has been revealed in recent years to be a potent activator of our telomeres. Can you talk a little bit about why ashwagandha, especially in the form we have it in our lozenges, and it's important in helping activate and lengthen the telomeres for our reverse aging?
Okay, so in the scientific literature, it was shown that ashwagandha can actually, it contains the phytonutrients that have an affinity for our DNA. I mean, our drops are DNA candy, but the ashwagandha has a special affinity for the telomeres. So it protects them from being damaged, and therefore the cell replication process is protected to ensure that the cells get replicated correctly, passed on to from the mother cell to the newly forming cell at all times. So ashwagandha is quite remarkable when it comes to protecting the DNA.
I found that to be absolutely amazing because we get asked a lot of times, do you have something in your products that will help with telomeres? And I think this is a subject that none of us have broached over the last 4 years. I mean, we've talked a lot about ashwagandha, but we've never really gotten into the science of how it does help your cells replicate and lengthen those telomeres to help our bodies sustain at a younger level as we age.
Really, I thought we had, I thought one of the PDF documents that I produced for one of our calls showed that it might have been something else I was doing outside of APLGO, but I'll have to double check on that. But I think we covered it, didn't we? Does anyone remember that? But if we did, then it's in one of the PDF documents. But yeah,
I will look through those, but we just got asked in the chat if we could have a call just on that topic, because I know we could talk for hours just on that topic. So that's something we'll keep in mind.
Oh yeah, that's exactly. It would need to be a breakaway call. You know, this is why I'm starting my institute, because there'll be questions, specific questions that I'm just dying to answer that we never have time to really go into very deeply, right? So yeah, that would be a great subject to cover. We want to do a breakout, meeting for that sometime. I'm game. I'm willing to do it.
Oh, I'm game, and I know there'll be a bunch of people that are game as well, because like I said, I get asked that all the time by people that are looking at our products, especially people that are already involved in the healthcare industry. And I'm not talking about hospital settings, but just as Ayurvedic medicine or naturopaths. That is one of the questions they ask all the time.
Oh, I know. There's so many minute subjects to cover always. There's always something to talk about. So basically, when a person has that level of understanding, then it warrants, and I want to keep pushing. I mean, I know people have been attending these calls, and so they're getting pretty well educated, but there comes a point where they need more information. I remember when I was in my college years, I learned the basics, but then I had more questions as my level of education got more and more sophisticated. And then when I did my own research later on, it just shot up like crazy. So I had even more questions, right? Pursuing more and more knowledge. So I love that. I love that people have that interest and they want to know what's going on. So we need to stay on top of the peer-reviewed science. Everything else out there, we don't want to pay attention to because there's so much misinformation. You've got people who are pushing products just based on one little aspect of our health, like telomeres. Oh, here's a product that somebody is selling online, right? Or with a YouTube channel or something on a commercial, and they're selling products and explaining a little bit about the telomeres and how this product is the be all and end all to do that. But no, you need a whole food supplements. You need a living, active, enzyme active supplement so that the phytonutrients can act at the micro level. And I mean, at that DNA level where the cells are replicating. So, and also maintaining the youth of that cell. The ends of those telomere capsules are the key to maintaining youthfulness. So there's a whole lot of things that you need to know in order to make sure that happens. It doesn't have to be one specific formula that only concentrates or purports to concentrate on telomeres.
While we're on that subject, especially with beauty, there are many people on this call, including myself, that have been on that for 4 years now. And when I look back, in fact, we were talking about this at our last corporate directors retreat. When we look back at pictures of ourselves, Julia and Tina and so many others, Sherry as well, when we look back at pictures of ourselves before we started these products, and this is a product that doesn't work overnight, it takes time, obviously. But I will tell you, every single one of us look younger. In fact, we are aging backwards, Deborah. I was on a call with a gentleman the other day, and he had no clue because I had just said it was my birthday, and he said, "How old are you?" I said, "I'm in my mid 60s." He could not. He thought I was literally lying. Now,
Yeah.
my mom always said, if you're going to lie about your age, lie up so that people will say, "Oh my God, you look so great." But truly, he did not think that I was in my 60s at all. And when I go back and look just 4 or 5 years ago, major, major difference. Tina Malsom, the lines around her face and everything, much softer than they were 4 years ago. I could just go on and on with everybody. Sherry, Denny's, her hair, and the glow in her face. And it is amazing what these products will do over the long term when you keep taking them. And I think that's something, we all talk about the short term and what the products do in the short term. But I will tell you, long term, I think every single one of us look absolutely incredible compared to 4 years ago.
Absolutely. So you age very, very slowly. It's in our genetic program to age, but we can slow it down for years, actually. So cells need constant nourishment. That's something that people think, okay, I'm just going to take this supplement for a while and then I'll be all better. No, you're living, breathing, replicating, self-regenerating, monitoring, self-monitoring cells need constant nourishment always. Constant hydration, constant rest and recuperation, detoxification, all that has to be ongoing in order to maintain that high level of health. Why have your health deteriorate if you don't nourish it properly, provide it the proper fuel, to take care of itself. So it's very, very important to do that. Absolutely.
I agree 100%. You know me, I am so excited about these products, and I'm so excited about everything that I continually learn from you, even with down to the minute details, like we talk about, where this feeds those micro cells that actually play a very important role in our bodies, where none of us, I think, well, very few of us are cognizant of that when we start with APL. And then we start learning about what these products do at that microcell level. And it really does baffle the mind in a really, really good way. So onward and upward.
Yeah, absolutely. Cells are the units of life. Everything is made out of cells. All of our structures and organs and even our blood is considered a tissue. So all tissues are composed of these living cells. So without cells, we wouldn't be here. That's what the fundamental unit of life is in all living things. Just wanted to point that out real quick. Okay, so two more things: fat, glucose, and hormone metabolism. We're going to focus a little bit on the glands, nourishing the glands so that at that microcell level, they're going to be functioning properly. So you know what it's like. Some of you, maybe, I don't know. I've seen a lot of people whose glandular systems are off balance because of all the wrong types of foodstuffs or synthetics that are in their bodies. Throws them all off. Their functions is disrupted. They're just not. They can't repair themselves either. So that's important too. We'll go over that. Look at all these X's down some of these columns on every single one of these botanicals and all the phytonutrient compounds that will do this work for us. So then we'll look a little bit about the stress, cognitive mental performance, and how it protects the nervous system so that it'll function properly. So let's go ahead and get into each one of these. They're just going to be photographs at this point, but as you can see, the air and the beauty combined together make quite a team here for all those different body systems. So again, this is the first column, maintaining that microcirculation flow to the brain. And these are all the ingredients I list again for you. But if you look at a cross-section of the micro universe of the cells, you go inside the blood vessels and just take one section of the brain here and its microcirculation, you'll see that there are massive, innumerable amount of micro capillaries that are just nourishing and bringing oxygen to the brain. And then if you want to take a section of that and just go even further. So the further and further you go into our micro universe, the more complex it gets. It doesn't get simpler, it gets more complex. So then, the second column was controlling the body's stress reaction. So here are all of the different systems or different organ systems in the body that produce the white blood cells, the immune cells. So all of these that are produced from all of these organs will attenuate inflammation. When you're under stress, then all these stressors, all these chemicals the body produces under stress are very inflammatory. But these also will cover any kind of microbial problem. If you have a bacterial infection, or if you're ill and you got food poisoning, or the flu or cold or something, then or an infection, then they will get to work to destroy the microorganisms. And also they will donate those electrons that we need to neutralize anything that doesn't belong in the body, whether they are the if they are the microbials or if they are synthetics. So anything that the body detects that does not belong in there, then these live enzyme active, negatively charged plant materials at their DNA level will neutralize these invaders, right? And they also help control the stress reaction by working on the adrenaline and the cortisol. Those two are always active when a person is under stress. So they have a lot of consequences. They can affect how your body utilizes fat. So a person who is under stress a lot will have more tendency to store more body fat. It's a protective measure because fat is very anti-inflammatory itself. So there's a lot of reasons why the body will hurry up and store, this future reserve for any kind of emergency. Okay, so the urinary bladder, the kidneys, I like to show these electron micrographs because you really see what it's like at the 10,000 times magnification level of the body. So we've got the two kidneys, and then if you blow up one of the kidneys, you'll see all the different, the physiology of the kidneys. And so when you have one of these little areas here, so you can, over here, I show how this little section, same little section is enlarged, and inside each one of these are multiple little glomeruli. So this is where the actual filtration gets where all your solutes, everything that you're taking in liquid form or anything that turns into liquid form, if there's water content in your foods, it'll all get filtered through this process. So these are very, very microscopic in size. So there's a lot of, you can see how if there's a buildup in solutes, they would be, it would increase the blood pressure and the water pressure. So the kidneys are the ones that regulate what your water pressure is in your body. Here's another blow up that shows the different, circulatory pathways that go in here. But I like to look at the larger the blow up of what's really going on. Like one of these here is basically just one of these here. And you can see all these little channels that solutes have to go through in order for, in the urine production process, the body has to gather a lot of water in order to push all these solutes through and out the body. So it's very important to make sure that everything that gets collected along the way can come out in the urine. So if you have very strong smelling urine, you're going to need a lot more water to drink. And, if you drink a lot of other things other than water, they're not hydrating because there's a net dehydrating effect, and all of the once the water's taken out of these beverages, you have all these particles, right? That if they're not nutrients and the body can't use them and has to get rid of them that way, it's usually carried out through the kidneys. So it's important to make sure your kidneys are not stopped up. Okay, so then let's go to the largest organ in the body, the detox organ of the skin. People who have skin issues, they're basically just clogged up, right underneath the surface, and all the capillaries aren't getting the water and the nutrients to multiply your skin cells so that they have healthy, pliable skin. Okay, and this is an electron micrograph of this right here. So it's kind of saying the same thing, only in more realistic way. And if you go even smaller and smaller, see the skin surface here looks like it's magnified somewhat, right? You can see all the different wrinkles on the skin. But here is, when you go into the micro world, this is what the skin actually looks like, the farther and farther and the deeper and deeper and the smaller and smaller you go. The skin's blood vessels here, this must have been some damage because you see the blood vessel, the blood cells exposed on the broken skin surface. So, this is just another reminder that we have to maintain our skin as well. And this is skin bacteria. It can easily be washed off. Obviously, we wash our hands, we wash off the illness-causing bacteria that we might have picked up somewhere. But and this is the surface of the skin. So, our biological terrain is always active, always breathing, always detoxifying, always replicating itself, always healing itself. Okay, so we talked about the colon, before. I wanted you to take a look at what the small intestine looks like at the microscopic scale. This is an actual photograph of a healthy intestine, and these little microvilli, they're little finger-like projections, little hair-like projections, that when nutrients arrive from the bloodstream, they are absorbed into the tissues. And this is kind of a pulling action. The nutrients arrive there, and their waving action actually pushes them down into the tissue. So if you have damaged intestines, say something like celiac disease, right? If a person has been eating the wrong foods, especially the white flours, that can stick to your intestine like cement and destroy the ability to absorb nutrients. And it could be permanent if enough of these DNA have been damaged over time. And this is also the mucosa, a real life photograph of the intestinal mucosa. So we've got mucosal cells all over the body, and they're just a way of protecting the organs and to help prevent inflammation. But things can be, if you have too much mucosa in your body, then you're going to have an inflammatory response, and you're not going to be able to absorb nutrients. There's a lot of cascade effect of those consequences, right? And here's what it looks like when a person has cancer of the colon. So the microvilli, even though this is a smaller area than this picture here, even the microvilli and the tissues in the colon have little projections as well. So, if this is all damaged, then this terrain needs repair, very badly right now. And if you have a blocked colon from eating, foods that stop you up, not enough fiber, it will get pretty bad, pretty inflamed, to the point where, like in this picture depiction of years and years of white flour, or synthetics that have been backing up. And usually it's not just one section like this. Sometimes it's the whole entire colon, so if things aren't being moved through, and a person who doesn't drink enough water is more likely to end up like this too. So drinking water is extremely important to move things through, circulate everything. And this is what a healthy colon looks like. There's no damage in here. All the tissues are flexible and pliable and moist and pretty clean looking for a colon, wouldn't you say? So this is what it would look like. So then we've got the respiratory airways. Always make sure that your airways are clear. And the buildup of mucus in the respiratory airways has a lot to do with your environment, sure, but if you get an infection, then it can start looking like this, where mucus starts building up, trying to engulf the invasive bacteria that's accumulating, and so the immune cells are busy at work, in the midst of all this, trying to destroy this invader. But if your immune system isn't on top of it, and if it's overwhelming the immune system, your immune system should be very, very powerful. It can handle a lot. especially if you have infections, or if you have a condition like asthma, where your body constantly reacts with inflammatory, responses. So having this kind of botanicals and, the vitamins that are present in these foods will help dissolve and maintain this. It'll help the immune system get rid of it, right? So yeah, this is you don't want this mucus accumulation. You cannot breathe, and you'll have a fever. It'll be very, very miserable.
Let's
So I like.
let's um let's ask a couple questions right here because this is really important. I know air has helped me immensely. I suffered a pulmonary embolism a long time ago. Just a long story short, they put me on birth control pills to help with stress related issues. And in 8 weeks, I threw a pulmonary embolism because of the birth control pills. So
Oh
my
my.
lungs have always been at risk when I get sick. Fortunately, I don't get sick very often. But one of the questions that comes in all the time, and I think I saw somebody put up there air for breathing. Air is my new favorite product because of its anti-inflammatory properties. But I got asked a question, last week or so, and I said I would ask it on this call. We're coming into cold and flu season, and there's a lot of people that are at risk, but many people who drink or use any kind of dairy products will get a lot of mucus buildup. Air seems to help me with that. Is that something that people can be aware of and use for when they have dairy products, if they have a mucus problem? Number one. And number two, can you speak directly to the anti-inflammatory properties of air and how important that is going into cold and flu season so that your lungs can get rid of that inflammation and work like they're supposed to?
Okay, I can answer both questions all in one.
I knew you
um,
could.
because they're all so interrelated, right? Okay, so these foods are antimicrobials and anti-inflammatory, which means they will help the immune system activate all of its forces and get rid of the infection, okay? And also get rid of well, by infection, I mean the invasive microorganisms, because when a person gets sick in the winter months, they are more likely to have these invasive bacteria, viruses, even fungi if you live in a very high moist area, or parasites. Parasites can thrive in various conditions, but sometimes they're just there too. It's something that's in our biological terrain anyway. Somehow they're in there, right? And some of them are actually beneficial, but the ones that cause illness that are exogenous or outside of the body that we contract, then the immune system needs a little bit of help in the wintertime because the body temperatures are not as high. In the summer, we're more active and our body heat is up, so a lot of those microbials can't thrive in high heat environments. So, as far as, okay, so the the phytonutrient compounds in the drops are active. They're enzyme active, they're energy active with those, negatively charged ions, right, present in there. So that's always going to help to neutralize any of these illness causing, items. Okay. So, and then let's see, what else was I going to say about that? Oh, okay. You mentioned dairy. Now, dairy is usually homogenized, heated at high super temperatures. And if you're not drinking organic milk, you're going to have the drugs in there, the antibiotics, the hormones that they feed these poor animals, and also the terror they sometimes go through if they're not humanely destroyed, okay, or abused. If they live, miserably in very confined conditions and never see the light of day, that's going to be a very stressful biochemistry in the animal. So all of these things get transferred into the milk. If you're drinking, organic milk, there's a lot of that that's eliminated. So you'll probably won't have as many issues there. But milk does tend to cause a lot of mucus in a lot of people. So I would stay away from milk in the winter months if you're prone to that. Or you can also, every time you have a glass of milk, have an enzyme active food. Lots of raw fruits, vegetables, leafy greens, fresh herbs. A lot of these botanicals are in the drops, right? So that's the next best thing to a raw, live water, high water content food. So drinking a lot of water along with the drops will also help, right? But yeah, just try to minimize the dairy or stick to the lower fat products so that the fat that's been very heated at high temperatures isn't difficult to digest, right? Usually it is if it's been subjected to high temperatures. So if you have an organic milk that's raw, that's the best way to do it. If you live on a farm and your animals are healthy and you're milking the cows or the goats every day, that's the best way to drink milk because you've got the enzymes in the milk that haven't been destroyed through high heat processing that will help break down and digest the milk.
As usual, you covered all of the bases. I'm going to let you continue. I do have a question that came in from a person that wanted me to ask it because it's a little bit a sensitive question, and I think it's going to be important for everyone, but I'll let you continue for now.
Okay. Yeah, I love to show pictures. They're worth 1,000 words. So here's another picture of an alveoli, this breakaway little section of the lung at the bottom of the lung where the bronchioles get smaller and smaller. So you've got the delivery of oxygen through the red, depicted blood vessel. And then when the oxygen exchange takes place here, right next to the tissue, this is where it takes place. Over here is a better picture of this little section here where the alveoli comes in contact with the bloodstream. So as you breathe in, then the blood is rejuvenated and you've got red blood, oxygen-rich blood. But when you exhale, then it's spent. So there's no oxygen or very little left there. So it goes back up to the heart and the lungs where the oxygen will take place with your deep breathing, and the heart will pump it back down, everywhere. So this is what's happening in your lungs all the time. So yeah, I mean, this is a real depiction, a micrograph of some real tissues, and they just show the different physiology of the bronchiole, the alveoli, the ducts, the blood vessels, et cetera, et cetera. So take a look at all these. I mean, if you look at these in detail, you'll be really amazed.
Mary Esther,
Okay.
just to be clear for people that are a little bit new, AIR, with its anti-inflammatory properties, can help keep the inflammation out of the bottom of your lungs to help you breathe better, especially if you are a bit congested. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, because the immune system is empowered to keep things normal and to prevent from a buildup of all of that, the destruction of the mucus.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so let's take a look at how the body repairs and regenerates itself. So first of all, when you cut yourself, say you have an inflammatory phase, you've got the platelet aggravation or the clotting factors that go in and start stopping the bleeding, right? You've got the neutrophil migration where the immune system comes in and starts cleaning things up and getting it ready. Also the macrophage transitions, they're always making sure that everything's clean so that when you start the angiogenesis or the healing process in the resolution phase, then you begin to reconstruct the tissue. And so we've got all these activation and recruitment of these tissue progenitors, the ones that actually help activate the generation of new cells. So they're busy at work, copying the DNA of the local undamaged cells, and they're busy, just repairing and rebuilding it. So then we've got a final, tissue regeneration. It all requires good circulation, nutrient oxygenation, detoxification, all the things that everything in the body that the body does requires all of the above. And these botanicals in these products are known for allowing that healing process to take place. So then we've got the fat glucose hormone metabolism. So, I mean, fats are so important. I highlighted this in blue. Do not be afraid to include whole food fats daily in order to utilize your fats and maintain a healthy body weight and composition. It seems so contradictory. Why should I eat fats? I've got plenty that's stored there. Like dissolves like in chemistry. When you're taking in healthy fats, they help stimulate the utilization of your body fats to carry along with all of the other tasks. You know, your body is vast when it comes to the nutrients that it needs to maintain itself. So, I mean, fats are needed to maintain your brain. There's 60% fat in the brain, and also to absorb your fat-soluble vitamins, A, D, E, and K. K is needed for blood coagulation and wound healing. So if you don't have vitamin K foods in your diet, you're going to have a slower process when it comes to, you know, regenerating and healing. Body temperature, fats are extremely important to generate the proper body temperature. If you're too cold, it will help you know, regulate it so that it can give you more heat. And if you're too hot, then it's going to make you sweat, you know, right? But normally it's just water sweat. So if you really want to burn fat, you've got to do the aerobic workout, the sustained activity that kicks into the fat burning stage. So that's the aerobic tendency to produce the energy that you need to utilize your body fat for energy. So yeah, your body stores potential energy. So people think, okay, I'm going to go on a diet and I'll never be overweight again. No, that's not how the body works. The body's always wanting to store fat for future use. So it's the amount of calories that you take in actually that matter, and the amount of physical activity to offset those calories that you take in. Most of the calories that you take in is used to maintain the body, not to you know, to give you something to burn off. So it takes work, you know, to make the body give up its body fat stores because they're important for your health. Okay, so it's just a little depiction of, you know, am I overweight? Am I not? So people who are very, very lean are like, this goes for men too. I thought they were wearing bras. I'm so sorry about that. Now that I look at it with my glasses on, they're naked. Oh my goodness. At least they
You're
have
all
bottoms
good.
on.
You're
It's nothing
good.
like anybody has never seen before, I hope. We're all adults here, right? Okay.
Exactly.
The body fat percentages can be anywhere from a very low athletic, you know, person, or as a person gets more sedentary, or, you know, they just overeat on overtime, or maybe their glands aren't producing the right hormones. And so the body's confused as to what to do with the body fat rather than maintain the cells and do all this work up here. It's just going to store it, you know, around the organs and beneath the skin. So that's why you have to do all of the above to just keep the body at a working level. You know, so there's a lot of reasons why people may be overweight. It's not just from overeating. Okay. And here's just a little depiction. Here's a little square here underneath the skin where body fat is stored. Notice how it's underneath the capillaries and the hair follicles and things like that. So even though fat is stored underneath the skin, there's still a lot of activity above that. So these are a depiction of what fat cells look like. Here's a real life photograph of fat cells, you know. So this is a very microscopic view. They're not like, you know, you can't see the bumps right on your skin. They're very, very tiny. And this is like another depiction of an electron micrograph of the skin above and the fat cells that are stored underneath the skin. So stress, cognition, mental performance. I'm looking at the clock. Oh dear. Let's see. Yeah, this is the last one. Okay, so let's look at what these botanicals do for the brain. So we talked about how, you know, our bodies produce different hormones under stress and inflammatory proteins under stress. So all of these can be very well managed and attenuated. I recently had a very stressful experience, as Ruth and Tina know, that, oh dear, you know, what's wrong with the payment process for the book, you know, so I had to really investigate and do some quick thinking. But the initial impact was extremely stressful for me because I like to provide, you know, efficient, reliable service at all times. I've got this reputation, you know, but boy, that was really stressful. But I was amazed at how the body actually got a hold of it because I'm well nourished. And so the nutrients in my body were able to just go in and calm the nervous system down so I could think and make the decision that I needed to make in order to fix the problem, you know, to find a solution. So anyhow, that was an experience. I don't experience that much stress that often. But anyway, these are all the different kinds of stressors, right? And what I just said can do to the body. So these are the different glands that are affected and produce the stress reactions. So the better or you know, nourished you are, the less of a reaction you'll have, and it won't be as prolonged. It can be very short, you know, like in my particular case. Boy, that was awful. But anyway, I just took these again. I always take these from the slides of the 18 different formulations we went through, just so you know what all of the phytonutrient compounds that are in, the drops and what they do for the body. So you can look at nutrients, you can look at botanicals, but you can look at the phytonutrient compounds that are really the behind the scenes hard worker for this.
I have to tell you, I think this is one of the best schematics I have seen. This is absolutely incredible. And I have a question that came in from a gal, and she was a little bit embarrassed to ask it, so I said I would. She is a carrier of ringworm. Now, for those of you that don't know, ringworm is not a worm at all. It is a fungus, a fungal infection. And doctors have put her on antibiotics, they've put her on topical creams. Just so some of you may know, a jock itch and athlete's foot are a form of the same kind of fungus. And she is wondering if prolonged use of beauty, since it's a fungus in the skin, would help get rid of that. And are there any other lozenges that she could use to mitigate that?
Yes, the ones that have the most botanicals in them are likely to do that because they have similar phytonutrients that are known to destroy. They act on their own. They don't have to even interact with the immune system. These phytonutrients will go through and detoxify and create an environment in the body that is very hostile to fungi or bacteria or the other microorganisms that cause illness. I have had a client before with ringworm, and I put her on when I didn't have APLGO drops, 30 years ago. I just put her on the essential oils, which are high concentrated forms of plant fluids, and
Right.
so she applied them, and her ringworm went away. So there are many, many phytonutrient compounds that I know that are in these drops that will do that. So yes, and she has to watch her sugar intake and white flour intake and all the junk stuff. Take it out of the diet. That's what feeds them.
She eats very good. She's Orthodox Jewish.
Okay.
So she stays away from all of that, except for the bread, the special kind of bread that they eat on Sabbath. The other question she had in conjunction with that is, should she do more than one BTY a day to start with? And I suggested, but I told her I would check with you. We've had some people say, take one of the lozenges and either melt it a little bit or get it wet and rub it on the area. Do you suggest anything like that? I mean, it's going to be absorbed in the skin to a degree, but I don't know if that's going to help the fungal infection at the spot that it's breaking out.
Um, Only essential oils would do that because they will absorb through all the layers of the skin and enter the blood system, the capillaries, and the immune system will take care of it from there. It recognizes those phytonutrients and direct it to the place that's needed the most. And in this case, it would be a high priority item. But the beauty or any of the drops, because they're sugar coated, it would not be a good idea to put them on the body topically, and to heat them would destroy all of their enzyme active, their ionic, uh, negatively charged, ions in there. So you don't want to destroy that living part of the drops of the plant materials. So I would definitely just keep taking them internally, because right away they enter the bloodstream, right? And they're going to
Perfect.
be distributed everywhere. So yeah, in her case, if she's not eating any white sugar, or any sweets, or anything like that, then she could handle 2 beauties a day. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. Now, I know we're running out of time. We always run out of time. I wish we could do longer calls, but I
So do
want to
I.
give you the last few minutes to talk about not potent superfoods, although a great book. We want to talk about the APLGO book, the desk reference manual, as many of us call it, the book that many of us got when we were brand new 4 years ago, and it is now available again. And folks, let me tell you why you want this book. It actually names our products. We found out just recently that there was some bad information passed on, not by anybody at corporate, but by somebody that used to work for APL. And Mary Esther had to discontinue the book. And we got to talking about it. And I will tell you, those of us that have this book, we use it all the time. It is no guesswork. And if you are doing trade shows, if you are going to be speaking to school nurses, to practitioners, to spas, to anything, this book is a lifesaver. And it is now available again. And you just heard Mary Esther talk about the stress she went through on this. So Mary Esther closes out with, how can all of us get this old new book?
Right here, I'm highlighting it. When you get this PDF document downloaded, you can just click on the link, but it's basically holisticchoices.com/product-page/the-APLGO product reference nutritional health guide. Put dashes in between that, but do a screenshot, do whatever you want to do, or if somebody could, put that on the chat. Do you have that link with you? I can do it right now if you want me to
I
put that
don't
in the
have it
chat.
with me, but we will make sure that everybody gets it.
Okay.
The schematic will be available after the call, folks. So we will get the word out to everyone, and I will make sure it's uploaded into the hub as well.
Okay. One thing I want to make sure people understand, this is a private link. It won't be on my regular website. I can't even put it on the APL website page on my website, because if somebody out in the public happens to be on that page and they click on it and they get the book, we're not allowed to do that right now. We want to be safe. We want to only allow the APLGO associates and maybe even their customers, if they're professionals and their potential people they can recruit into the business, whatever, I think it should be available to them as well. But, we can verify that. So yeah, it was a mess that I had to clean up very quickly. It was a learning curve so steep, you would not believe. You'd be exhausted just trying to climb up that steep learning curve. But it was really a lesson for me to, when I'm setting something up in a hurry, to not be in such a hurry. I should have taken a little more time to understand the different options that was happening. I didn't know that the funds were on hold either. So it's a private section in my website that will be available to the Institute's memberships. So I thought it would be safe to put it in that store area there, so that only that specific link is available to anyone, not to people who are potential, members of the Institute. But yeah, this is the only way you can get to the book.
And I want to make sure that everybody understands, none of us are doctors here. This book is for internal sales only. This is not to be shared on social media. We need to protect the company. We are the front line, guys, you and I. We do not want this book just out in the open. So please make sure you're responsible in how you use that link and who you share it with. It should only go to APL Associates, and like Mary Esther said, maybe doctors that want to use it, etc., etc. Mary Esther, I wish we could go on for another 2 hours. I know a lot of other people do as well. You have been a godsend in my life, as you know. I break down in tears with all the help that you have given me, people on my team, people on this call. And I think I can say for everyone on this call, we absolutely love you. We love your knowledge. We love that you share so graciously and so willingly with us. And we cannot wait till the next Behind the Science call. So if all of you could help me give Mary Esther just a virtual round of applause. Mary Esther, you know how I feel about you. I love you and thank you so much.
I love all of you. Thank you.
Until next time, guys, Esther's going to stop the recording. If you all want to stay on here for the drive to director, actually, I think I can stop the recording. Maybe I can't. There we go. Stop recording.